In late August 1944, someone in a small Illinois town started sneaking up to people's windows at night and pumping a mysterious gas into their bedrooms, leaving victims paralyzed, sick, and terrified. At least, that's what dozens of residents swore happened. Police searched for weeks. They never caught anyone. And to this day, nobody can agree on whether there was ever an attacker at all. Welcome back to Gallows Geek, where today we're heading to the small town of Mattoon, Illinois for a case that's either one of the creepiest unsolved crime sprees in American history or one of the best documented examples of an entire town collectively losing its mind at the exact same time. Possibly both. This one's got wartime paranoia, a sensational newspaper headline, armed neighborhood patrols, and a mystery that's been argued over by psychologists and true crime writers for 80 years without anyone landing on a definitive answer. Let's get into it. It started on the night of August 31st, 1944, with a woman named Eileen Kearney. She woke up smelling something sweet and cloying in her bedroom, and within moments, her legs went numb. Paralyzed, she said, unable to move from the waist down. Her sister, sleeping in another room, reported the same thing. Eileen's husband, Bert, got home from his night shift and found a strange man lurking outside their window, then watched him run off into the dark. Nobody ever got a clear look at his face. Police were called immediately, searched the yard and surrounding area, and found nothing. No footprints worth noting, no dropped equipment, no trace of anyone having actually been there beyond one very shaken family's word. That alone might have been one strange, scary night for one family. Except the very next day, the local paper ran the story with a headline that basically dared the rest of the town to start checking their own windows. Anesthetic prowler on loose. And from that point forward, Mattoon lost its collective mind. Over the following 2 weeks, more than 24 separate reports poured in. People described smelling a sweet, sickly gas near open windows, then experiencing nausea, dizziness, burning throats, and in some cases actual paralysis in their legs, lasting anywhere from a few minutes to several hours. Some reported seeing a shadowy figure sprinting away afterward, tall, dressed in dark clothing, sometimes described as wearing a tight-fitting cap. Others didn't see anyone at all, just the smell and the symptoms, and the growing certainty that something was out there. The town, understandably, panicked. Armed residents started patrolling their own neighborhoods at night, which, in retrospect, is exactly the kind of decision that tends to make an already tense situation more dangerous rather than less. Police were flooded with calls faster than they could respond to them. By some accounts, dispatchers were fielding reports faster than officers could physically drive between addresses. The state police got called in. Illinois National Guard chemical warfare experts, actual gas specialists, the kind trained to identify battlefield chemical agents on real wartime front lines, got brought in to help figure out what this stuff even was. And after weeks of searching, chemical tests on soil and fabric samples, and overnight stakeouts around houses that had reported incidents, they came back with essentially nothing. No gas canisters, no consistent chemical signature, no suspect, no fingerprints, no physical evidence tying any of the reports together into an actual crime with an actual criminal behind it. So what was going on? Let's break down the two competing explanations, because, much like Dyatlov Pass if you caught that one, neither side of this argument fully closes the case on its own. Theory 1, and the one most historians and psychologists eventually landed on: mass hysteria. Also called mass psychogenic illness, if you want the clinical term. The idea is that a real, if minor, initial incident, maybe an actual prowler, maybe just an unusual smell from something mundane like factory chemicals or a rogue skunk, genuinely nobody saw, got blown up by sensational local reporting into something the whole town became primed to expect. Once people are told there's a gas attacker sneaking around at night and everyone's on edge, ordinary, explainable things start getting reinterpreted through that lens. A whiff of garden chemicals becomes evidence of an attack. Anxiety-driven nausea becomes proof of poisoning. Once panic takes hold of a community, it's remarkably good at manufacturing its own supporting evidence. purely through people's genuine, non-malicious misinterpretation of ordinary sensations. There's real precedent for this kind of event, by the way. Mass psychogenic illness has been documented plenty of times throughout history, from dancing plagues to outbreaks of fainting in schools with no identifiable physical cause, to entire factory floors reporting the same symptoms after one worker claims to smell something odd. It's not a fringe theory. It's a well-studied, real psychological phenomenon, and Mattoon fits the pattern disturbingly well. A sensational trigger story, a tight-knit community primed for fear, wartime anxiety already running high with so many husbands and sons overseas, and a rapid cluster of similar symptoms with no consistent physical evidence connecting them. Skeptics of the gasser theory also point out something practical. Gas attacks, as a method, make for a pretty inefficient way to terrorize a town. A real chemical attacker sneaking house to house, night after night, for 2 straight weeks, without ever once being caught, photographed, or leaving behind so much as a discarded canister is a tall order, especially with armed neighborhood patrols actively looking for exactly that person by the second week. Theory 2. There really was a gasser, or possibly more than one, and mass hysteria is being used after the fact to conveniently dismiss victims who were telling the truth. This theory points to Aline Kearney's case specifically, the very first report, which had some details that are harder to wave away with "she imagined it." Her husband's own account of seeing an actual man outside the window that same night. There's a lot to unpack, and the mystery of Mattoon's phantom gas attacker remains one of those cases where the truth might lie somewhere in the middle. Before the newspaper story broke, and before anyone in town had been primed to expect an attacker at all. If the very first case happened before the panic could have influenced anyone's perception, that's a real problem for the pure hysteria explanation. Something or someone prompted that first report, and it's genuinely hard to psychoanalyze away a husband's direct eyewitness account of a fleeing figure. Some later research has suggested that the possibility threatening some physical You know what to do. Subscribe and keep your windows locked, just in case.